Hello, and welcome to another edition of SoCo Chat, a podcast where we talk about all things related to Sonoma County here in the beautiful North Bay of California. I'm your host, Paul Gullickson, Communications Manager for the County of Sonoma. And our topic today is about how to get important information quickly in our county. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the 211 line. A designated phone service where people can call to get all kinds of information they need, including emergency information about evacuations, shelter sites, and where residents can find help, and a lot more. Joining us to talk about all this is Jennifer Lake, the Community Impact Director from 211 Sonoma County, which is part of United Way of the wine country. But before we get into that, we want to let listeners know our trivia question for the week. During our recent SoCo Chat interview with Agricultural Commissioner Andrew Smith, you remember we discussed that the many agricultural products that are produced here in Sonoma County. Now, it's no mystery that our biggest crop is wine grapes, which represents a $547 million industry here. The question is, what is our second biggest agricultural product? And here's a hint. It's a $67 million industry. So if you know the answer, call us at 707-565-2242. Again, that's 565-2242. Or email us at publicaffairs, one word, at sonoma-county.org. If you're the first to call or email with the correct answer, you'll win one of our great SoCo Chat mugs. And with that, we'd like to welcome Jennifer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, first, would you mind telling us what is 211 and when did it start and all that?
Yeah. Well, that's a long story.
Yeah.
211 is it's an information and referral line. It's a designated 3-digit call line for people who need help for basic needs. They run into some life challenge and they need some support around that. Then that's what this number would be for. It's a national number. It's a national number. 99% of the states across the country have 211. In California, I believe we have about 40 211 call centers. Not all are United Way, but about 34 of those are run by United Way.
Yeah.
So, and the goal of 211 is to just be available for people to have at one access point to all the social services, social service, community service programs within your local area. So each 211 has the information for their local areas.
Yeah. Well, it's such a valuable service, but I want to get right into it. There is some confusion with 911. When do I call 911? When do I call 211? What's your advice? How do people break that down?
Well, 911 is for those critical emergencies, witnessing a crime, basically that's it. So if your life is in danger and there's a disaster coming and you don't know
accident or fire or something.
Your life's in danger. It's critical. You're witnessing a crime. There's somebody's being abducted or something like that. Then that would be 911. 211 is if you have questions about how you can get help for yourself and your family, or your friends, or somebody who needs resources to stay on track, to maintain your well-being or improve your well-being.
Yeah, so it may not be an immediate emergency. They're stuck by the side of the road or, in an accident or something, but something help along the lines of, life assistance.
Yeah, I heard it said that 911 is for a critical crisis and 211 is for a personal crisis.
That's good. That's a great way to break it down. Well, tell us, give us an idea of what kind of questions you're prepared to answer on the 211 line.
It's a call line, so we get all kinds of different questions. But for the most part, people are calling they describe their situations to the call specialist, and so the questions are going to be like, well, can you help me find housing, or can you help me? I don't know how to access county support. Don't even know if I'm eligible, or my friend needs this needs to get childcare. She just had a brand new baby. Where do we get such a thing?
Where can we find?
We can't afford what the regular price is. Is there anything? So it's questions like, what's available to me is mainly the start of the question. What is available to me? Or I heard about this. Can I get this?
Yeah. And you have quite a volume of answers ready to help them because you partner with a number of organizations,
Mhm.
right? And so you can refer them to these organizations.
Right. That's the beauty of calling 211 because what we do all the time and what we are actually we work on improving all the time and what we're
Hmm.
doing all the time is reaching out to community-based organizations, county programs, anything that would be a resource that would support somebody in their personal crisis. So, and we meet with them, we add new programs as we meet people who aren't on 211 to build up the database.
Hmm.
So why that's great is because you develop the relationships, and so when you know how it works. So
Hmm.
sometimes accessing services, the reason we need this number
Right.
is because it's not always intuitive. You don't always know, how do I access, you know, CalFresh benefits? I don't
Right.
even know, like I don't even think I can go, and people
Hmm.
won't go and access Social Security benefits because they don't think they qualify, or
Mm.
unemployment. Oh, I worked, but I didn't work that many hours, and so the call center specialists are trained for answering those questions. You know, like the fact sheet kind of
Right.
questions. Yeah.
So you're ready to help them, whether it's finding a place for a food pantry
Hmm.
or all the way up to whether they qualify for Social
Hmm.
Security, like a federal
Hmm.
program, right?
And taxes
And
and
taxes. Really?
ITINs and Social
Well, I'm going to call
Security.
you about my taxes.
Yeah. Well, you have to make 79,000 or less, or is it
Okay.
79? Yes. I hope I'm right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 70,000, and then we've increased it to 79 because of the cost of living in Sonoma County. So
But you actually give tax advice or
no, we
refer
provide,
them?
we have about 10 clinics around Sonoma County where we partner with people like, other programs like CAP, Catholic Charities, just other programs. And we, they have sites on their, they have a tax clinic,
Hmm.
and they provide the volunteers and the site coordinator, and then we kind of oversee it. It's called EITC is what it is, but we call it Earn It, Keep It, Save It.
Hmm.
And so that what they do is free tax preparation and filings.
That's fantastic. Important thing for people to know this time of year,
Yeah,
right?
and it's not just for people who can't afford things.
Yeah.
It's for anyone who
Yeah.
makes less.
It's a certain income.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
a 79,000 is what it is this year.
Yeah.
And
For
so
a householder.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so the interesting thing is 211 call center calls go increase 50% in January because people are scheduling those appointments for the tax clinics. We've been doing that for years with
That's
United Way.
fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Well, give me a sense of how many calls you get. Is it a dozen or how many per week or
We
month?
do about 3,500, anywhere between 3,000 and 3,500 a month. It depends on the month.
Wow.
So, like for instance, I looked up one day for you today. It
Hmm.
was 9 calls and 5 new calls, right?
Uh,
Well, that's not going to tell me anything. So the month, I did the whole month of January, and it was 3,500.
oh my
Now
gosh.
it's 3,500 because of Earn It, Keep It, Save It.
Mm.
So an average month might be it would be more like 2,500 to 28 in between there.
Yeah. I want to squeeze in this question. Make it clear how many language are available. I mean, you accept Spanish speaking audiences. Who else?
Yeah. So our call center, the 211 call center, is bilingual Spanish and English speaking.
Great.
And then we can offer up to 150 other languages,
Wow.
including dialects, different dialects for those languages.
For indigenous languages too.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great.
And how they maintain that is they contract with a translator interpreter center, and then if they can't get them on the phone, the backup plan is they use a language line.
Yeah.
So they always have the ability to communicate in whatever language you call, pretty much.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, I noticed on your numbers that you have almost as many Caucasian callers, English speaking, as Latino callers,
Mhm.
and quite a number of strictly Spanish speaking
Mhm.
callers.
Yeah, there's been a real focus in the last few years to increase our outreach efforts into the marginalized communities,
Hmm.
limited language that includes seniors and youth,
Hmm.
farm workers.
Hmm.
So our Spanish calls have increased by 16%
From when?
from last June when I
Wow.
got here. When I started analyzing it, I'm only going to go with the data I look at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's 16% since last June.
That's
And
fantastic. So, and you attribute that to some more outreach?
oh, definitely.
Mhm.
We were working on with the Department of Health Services, and one of those was to subcontract. So we subcontracted with a group who does outreach and solely outreach. They did all of our 211 outreach along with disaster preparedness outreach to marginalized communities, mainly Spanish speaking.
Okay.
So
And
that's why.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's great. And just to clarify about talked about the confidential and privacy issues you stand by.
Yeah. So the call center 211 uh is 211 call specialists are certified through Inform. So I was struggling with the Inform because it was AIRS
Hmm.
and now it's Inform. And so, but they are certified. They test, they become certified. They get training also through our call center. I don't know if it's through all of the 211s on, the active listening, motivational speaking, conflict resolution, all those communication type trainings. They go through that regularly. Like they have regular trainings for
Hmm.
that, so they're prepared. When it comes to confidentiality, they are. It's it's part of their certification. It's part of policies and procedures with the call center themselves, and they just adhere to that. I
Yeah.
mean,
So everything is private and confidential, just to
Absolutely. They
underscore.
can anybody calling 211 can rest assured that you don't have to give identifying
Yeah.
information either to get services. You can choose not to. You
Yeah.
can be an anonymous caller.
Yeah. Because I know that's such a barrier for
Yeah.
people. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, they're just going to take my
Yeah.
information down
Yeah.
and hold it. And but
And
that's
I
not the
don't believe
case.
them. And yeah,
Yeah.
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 So they would just comfort that person by saying, you don't have to give me any identifiers. We still want to help you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, let's talk about. Yeah, I know during times of crisis and extreme weather, you serve a really important role there too in getting information out to the public because you can't call 911 for every question you have about it. Whether you're in an
hmm
evacuation zone, but you may not know. Who do you call?
hmm
Well, you call 211, right?
hmm
Tell us what kind of help. How do you help in those times?
So again, I'm kind of new to this world,
Yeah.
but I can say that uh, I've done some research and also my experience so far. How we're supportive to 911 is that we can take on the non-emergency calls, those
Hmm.
calls that are, personal crisis type calls,
Hmm.
or they want to know the information about where's my evacuation, what's my zone, those
Hmm.
kinds of questions that
Hmm.
come up during a crisis. You can get all that from 211.
Yeah.
You can also get information, you can get referrals and resources depending on your situation.
Right.
So, for instance, if you are an AFN, identified AFN customer of PG&E, there's resources out there that will help you uh, survive a power outage, for
Yeah.
instance, that often occurs during these events. So,
Right.
so we can do all of that. 911 is that frees up 911 to respond to only those critical crisis, life-threatening,
Yeah.
danger
Yeah.
type things.
Yeah. Well, I'll speak from experience. And when we operate in our emergency operations center, we work very closely with your team. Not
hmm
211 is such a valuable partner
Yeah.
in getting out that information. And we
hmm
work very hard in our communications just to make
hmm
sure you guys are up to
Yeah.
date. All information about evacuation
Yeah.
areas, where people
Yeah.
can find help, whether it's
Yeah.
sandbags or resources.
So a lot of it is proactive. Like,
Yeah.
so what I've learned so far is, like all of the information that I'm getting from the DEM and from this office too
Hmm.
is then translated or relayed to our call center specialists so that if there's calls of any kind, they're going to be able to respond to what's happening here.
Yeah.
Also, like just in my short time here, I was able to work with somebody around the controlled burns. So that was new. And I said, why are we not using 211 differently, like all during blue
Yeah.
skies?
Right.
So I worked it out with the call center to get an IVR, like a recording, a
Hmm.
phone recording, of some sort, that for controlled burn. So when people call 211,
Yeah.
they would hear, oh, I'm safe, And
Right.
it was interesting because my daughter lives in Hopland
Hmm.
and there was a controlled burn up there, but she didn't know. And it
Yeah.
was coming over the hill towards
Yeah.
her. And she goes, Mom, you just told me this, what you did. And here comes this flame. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's probably a
Yeah.
controlled burn, but I don't know. So she called the fire department,
Great
which
example.
everybody does. And she goes, they were really short with me. I go, hence the reason you call
Right.
211 first.
Right.
So,
That a great example. Do you have other examples of some success stories you've had and cases like that?
well, the recent storms,
Hmm.
I did, we do all the communication back and forth with 211, make sure they know everything that's going on. And, also about the roads,
Hmm.
that was
Yeah.
something new I
Road
learned.
closures. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was part of the information.
Yeah.
So as I go, I just kind of add more to
Yeah.
it. Um, so this recent storm, there was so when there's a storm, there's a power outage, PG&E sends the call center. Our call center is designated lead for distributing the resources from PG&E when it's appropriate.
All right. Right.
So what I learned this time is that the PG&E sends our call center folks a list of phone numbers,
Mhm.
and so they're calling all these people while the storm's happening
Right.
and all of that to see if the people who are identified as AFN
Need help. Yeah.
customers need help. And
Yeah.
so we served like 764 people in the January storm. I
That's
didn't
great.
have February yet, but so the question was,
Yeah. Just to get another example, but that's a good example of
well,
how
so the
you're out there.
example was this one woman couldn't use the
No.
Visa credit voucher that they
Mhm.
send you. So sometimes they send you an card, and it
Mhm.
wouldn't work for her. For whatever reason, and they couldn't figure out how to get her the card, so they were going to mail it to her. And I'm thinking,
That's not going to work.
so I just said, just let me go pay for a card, and I will meet up with her and give her the card. So that's what I did. That's my story for this storm. I met up with her, and she had her physical limitations, and she was stuck at her house with no power for 7.5 days.
Oh my gosh.
So they couldn't cook, and she used a breathing machine.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
she
God.
had to have gas for a generator in order to use that to stay at home.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. Well, she probably really appreciated that you did that.
Yeah, she keeps calling me.
You're still friends.
We're still buddies.
Well,
yeah.
there's a Sonoma County story.
Yeah.
Well, tell us. You started in June, right?
Yeah, June 5th.
Where were you before then?
Before then, I took a short job at PEP Housing and working with seniors who were recently housed. They were chronically homeless housed individuals, try to help them stay housed.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't there very long. I decided I needed to, it was the other side of what I'm used to doing.
Yeah.
Loved it though.
Yeah.
But before that, I was contracted to the city of Sebastopol doing outreach coordination to help sweep the Laguna and move the RVs.
Oh,
So I
that's great.
still actually volunteer for a few of those folks that we moved off of Morris Street to try to help them move on because they're being evicted. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've been involved in community for a long time.
30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Everything I've ever done has been about supporting the community.
Yeah.
So I have lots of stories.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, so what do you like best about your job now?
Man, it's such a detail in everything about everything
Specifics.
you touch is so detail oriented that, to learn it, I'm not 20, so to learn it, I'm like, wow, this is going to take me a little bit of time. So what I like about it is that I work for a great person who
Yeah.
has the patience to let you learn something.
Yeah.
And the people that I've met and partners, like with the Jeff and his team, the department, DEM.
Department of
I
Emergency
mean,
Management.
I'm calling them for the most random, weird questions, and they've been really, really patient with me and great.
Yeah.
I hadn't been in the administrative for a while. I took a street outreach job, and for selfish reasons, I was healing from a neck surgery, and I needed the exercise. So I thought, well, I'm going to try that. I didn't even know I'd like it. Best job ever.
That's great.
So it's been about 10 years since I've been in the administrative world. And so I'm like, I forgot, there's like a lot of things you got to pick back up in terms of just the culture. But I like it. I like the people I'm meeting. Everybody's really, really passionate about what they do, and they're very kind.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
you're making a difference, and people, and
I
that's
hope
important
so.
service. It's important service we provide, and it's one that we want people to take advantage of more because it's there, and we want people to make it as easy as possible. So remember 211. And the other thing that you just told me today is that this is actually National 211 Month or something.
National 211 Day was February 11th, which was a Sunday.
Okay.
And because I am new, I didn't have the time to put a huge campaign together.
No.
So I was sending out, I put it on the website and stuff. But just being able to come do the podcast during February, I'm like, yes, I did something
well,
for
this
national.
is our campaign.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it worked out, and just to remind people, take advantage of 211.
Yeah.
It's a great resource.
And there's so much more that 211 does outside of just answering calls. I mean, the one story that I do have about 211 is I was at that small job, for a minute, and I needed to find smoking cessation classes
Mm.
for this resident
One
who was
client.
going to be evicted for
Mhm.
smoking in her unit.
Mm.
And I'm like, no, I know we can help her. So I couldn't get anybody from the county to call me back. It was like right on the tail end of COVID and all
Right.
that. So I'm like, okay, everything's changed. The resources are not the same as they were before COVID when I had a job. So I said, oh, I'm going to try 211. Just briefly remembered it. It
Mhm.
existed really. And so I called 211, and in a half an hour, I got 3 different resources for smoking cessation in our community, and the Kick It California
Oh, yeah,
program
right.
through the San Diego University or San Diego State or something. But anyway, it's Kick It California, and they provide the person with a $20 gift card and one-on-one counseling on the phone. You didn't have
Mhm.
to go to a group, which she was not doing that.
Oh, that's great.
And she took it. She took us,
Oh, that's
and she
great.
quit smoking.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm sitting there going, I've been doing this work for 30 years. Had I known it would take 30 minutes to get 3
All
resources,
those.
all this information, it would have taken me 3 hours or more back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
I would have had 211 on speed
Well, that's
dial.
great. And your example of how you're using it. Remind people that it's not just calling 211. There's other ways to access the information, right?
Right. So the number one way people do reach us is calling 211. But you can also text to you can text and get the same kind of, information and referral.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's a little bit more limited, but I have a story about that too.
Yeah.
But you can text, and it's um, and you'll get all the same resources.
Mhm.
You can also go online and go to 211sonoma.org.
Yeah. So 211sonoma.org, one word.
Yeah, and you can search for what you're looking. If you know what you're looking for, you can search what you're looking for through guided searches using your zip code, the name of the service you want or the
Mhm.
program. You can also see the demographics. Like anyone
Yeah.
can go on there and click on reports and pull up our number one
Yeah.
referral of
Yeah.
that month and things like
In
that.
fact, most of the people who get the information do it through their website itself, right?
Yeah, I
More
wonder.
than the callers.
No, callers are still
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
call.
I was looking at the data. I thought that's what I read.
People in crisis tend to want to answer right now, and they
Yeah.
don't
So the
want to.
people who really need the help, they'll call.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's the people
That
who are
makes sense.
planning for what's going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
I'm getting evicted next month. I
Right.
need to do some research. Those are the people that are using our website.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ratio is off the top of my head, but I do know that the number one is calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's texting, calling, or the website
Okay.
to access that. And when you access online, you also have access to our national platform. So
That's
you can
great.
get
More resources.
Yeah, you can. If you wanted to move to Pennsylvania, you could.
Yeah.
You can look up Pennsylvania 211 and figure out what's out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really important. Jennifer, thank you for being here. As a thank you for being our guest, we'd like to give you one of our
Yay.
SoCo Chat podcast coffee mugs.
Awesome.
And tell people who call 211 about that.
Oh, I'll definitely let everybody know. This will be right here on my desk.
They're fantastic. And to our listeners, we want to thank you for tuning in. Remember, whether it's a question about emergency resources, food, housing, healthcare, or anything else, go to 211 in Sonoma County just to call or text or click away 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? I mean, it's
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's right, at any time. So also, we want to let you know if you have comments about this or any other segment or have a suggestion for a future topic of discussion on SoCo Chat, please email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. Once again, this podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon, as well as YouTube. So follow us and encourage others to do the same. Thank you all, and be sure to tune in for our next segment of SoCo Chat. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.